Hello, space friends, and welcome to day 2 of the Imperium tournament, brought to you by the Imperium News Network. I'm joined in the studio today by Eric Asmok. Say hello, my friend.
Hello, everyone.
Next person in the studio is Gomel Knox.
What's up, everybody? How are you guys doing?
Kiala.
Good morning.
And Moomin Amerton.
Good day, everyone.
Fabulous Skeptic is here with us as well, but I'm not sure if you'll be able to hear him, so we'll just skip straight over him. We've got Sophie still, but I believe he's preparing today's matches. So first up today, we're going to have a little bit of a discussion around yesterday's matches. I think that I sort of watched all of the matches again, and they were all like really good, maybe except for that Thunderstruck one. But those guys had some bad luck. Industrial Obliterator put together a team, but being in the Australian time zone made it very difficult for him to actually get players onto his team, which was really unfortunate. But it's always good to see him give it a go. Now, the first match was 13 legs and 65 toes versus Bomberwolf. 13 legs brought an ECM setup, and Bomberwolf brought a Armor Balgorn with Fleet Hurricane Issue and Assorted Tackle and DPS. The whole 13 legs and 65 toes team came in at range, except for their Kura. Bomberwolf came in at 0, and that Kura from 13 legs team went down extremely quickly. After that, a Rook, only 10 seconds after the Kura went down, the Rook went down for 13 legs, and it all went downhill from there, with Bomberwolf taking out the win. So, Moomin, what did you think of that fight?
Well, 13 legs and 65 toes went heavy with the evil, and basically the gods of RNG were not very kind to them. And that's pretty much sums that whole match up, really. If those evil modules had actually taken, if they'd been able to apply that, then it could have been a very, very different story for Bomberwolf.
Definitely, I think that's one of the things. Like, ECM setups can be really, really strong, but you have to get those jams off really quickly at the start of the match to make sure that none of that DPS is applied, and it just didn't work for the 13 legs and 65 toes guys. I didn't really look at their fits, so I'm not sure how much tank they actually had fitted, but that could have made all the difference for them as well.
It fits heavily with a wormhole meta, though, because ECM is very heavily used there, and it's not really heavily used in larger fleet comps.
I did notice that early on in the match, the 13 legs, 65 toes were definitely splitting damage, and if they had managed to focus fire on, say, the enemy Logi, then they might have had a bit more of a chance to win.
Yeah, it's all about breaking or shutting down the Logi, and they didn't do that clearly.
Fabulous. All right, I'm just gonna check the schedule here. So we're already actually 1918. Okay. The next match was Butts Inc. versus Wildly Inappropriate. Butts Inc. brought an Armor Balgorn with a couple of a Navy Harbinger and Brutes, while Wildly Inappropriate brought a Balgorn and a Fleet Typhoon. Both fleets came in at range. There was a lot of damage throughout the match, I believe. I'm sort of just skipping over my my words here. But there was a lot of back and forth. I think Spitball died early on. And then the Wildly Inappropriate team changed to Jay, but was able to get his local rep running in time, but finally died once Jay died, the team changed over to the Balgorn of Wildly Inappropriate, killed the Guardian, so both Logi ships died, and a DPS race ensued in that match, and Butts Inc. coming out on top for that one. What do you think of that one, Kiala?
That was very evenly matched. I don't remember the match too closely. I mean, I was there, but it was a very even match.
Yeah, the DPS race was really interesting to see. I'm just checking up. My apologies, guys. I'm just checking the the times for the matches. The first match will start at 19:40 today, so we've got about 15 minutes to go. So the next match was Reavers versus Asian squad. Reavers brought a Cerberus Claymore Kite Doctrine, while Asian squad brought a Kite Barghest Doctrine. So both teams took minimal damage at the start until the Reavers team moved in to take out some of the weaker ships, forcing Asian squad to chase them in attempt to gain back those points, finally ending in a brawl, but not enough for Asian squad to take home the win. Moomin, I thought this match was quite interesting.
Hello, everybody, and we're back, and hopefully we fixed the audio. If not, we'll continue to work on it. So let us know in the chat if we're having issues. I think the last one we left off with, what were we on here? Space Violence versus Thunderstruck was our next review. Is everybody agree with that, Kamal?
That sounds about right.
All right. Who wants to give us a little feedback on that one? Looks like we had Thunderstruck primarily with their Mercurial, their Navy issue Scorp, and their Astarte 3-man team, right? Versus a nice team from Space Violence.
I recall the 3-man team. That was pretty interesting to watch. They did put up on a very valiant effort, I think. I don't recall watching Space Violence. I think I might not have been there for that match.
Oh yeah, well it was interesting. We saw them come onto the field, and we weren't sure what they were going to do, but Space Violence took them out pretty handedly, obviously.
Well, if that team is recovered and managed to get all of its members in play, then they might actually be the wild card of the second day, since we really don't know what they're capable of when they're at full strength.
Yep, that'll be interesting if they've got a full complement today. We'll see. Next up, we had Moomin's favorite, right? V Forder and Bomberwaff.
Well, I don't know about favourite. They're not very keen on me, I can tell you. Well, some people anyway. All I can say to my defence, if you wanted to have it called Vader, you should have used an A and not a 4. I'm not 12 years old.
Well, they came in with a 6-man team, right?
Yeah, I believe they did, actually.
Were they the first 6-man team that came in
it's I think Jay's team, Bartzink, earlier on was the first 6-man that we saw.
Yeah, some of the big things from Bomberwaff, they came in with Balgorn and a Fleet Hurricane, which was interesting. V Forder came in with command ships, and they had a Slipnir. So we had Bomberwaffer. They went after that Scimitar right away. Do you remember that one, Gamal?
Yeah, and that is, it typically in small gang fights, that is the right thing to do. You take out the enemy's logistical support either by blowing them to dust or by using E-War. And they were able to snap their logistical backbone rather quickly, and I think that's what got them through the match so quickly.
Yeah. V Forder. Huffy apparently likes us changing how that's pronounced. So Moomin, you get all the credit for that one.
Thank you.
The next match we had yesterday, we had Wildly Inappropriate, and they overcame 13 legs and 65 toes. This was an interesting match, with Balgorn against Balgorn, right?
I do love a good Balgorn fight.
Were you in for this one, Kiala?
Yeah, I did watch that one, and they made one crucial mistake. They burned straight at the Blackbird on the other side, and 13 Legs just lost 2 ships right away with no transversal.
Yeah, and we saw all day people going after the Blackbirds immediately. They just didn't get that one.
Yeah, I think people were throughout this tournament. People have been overestimating the threat of ECM, and ever since the sensor booster change, ECM is significantly less of a threat because most ships are going to have the option of ECCM, where it was before ECCM was a very specialized choice.
Mm-hmm. So the next match, Thunderstruck versus V Forter. More command ships, right? And Thunderstruck with a 3-ship setup. They lasted a little bit longer than I expected them to in this one. Moomin, what did you think about this one?
Just like a valiant attempt from Thunderstruck with what they actually were able to bring. As we know, not always everything goes to plan. Unfortunately for Thunderstruck, that was the case. But given what they did actually bring, at one point at the beginning, I'm thinking they're actually holding in there. It's like they might be able to do something. But, as the match kind of like progressed, particularly when that first battleship went down, that's losing third of a team straight off. So I think it would just became tougher for them to come back, and being larger ships as well, less able to actually apply any meaningful damage to the smaller stuff. So yeah, they were already on the back foot as soon as that went.
Yeah, I'm going to apologize to Lily Karina there. She, keeps screaming Vader, but sorry. We've been banned from saying that. Moomin said he'll never talk to any of us again if we pronounce it that way. So,
please continue the hate mail for V4 fans. It's just Moomin Amatin in game.
We're just having a little fun with it, guys. You know what? And in that match, let's give them kudos for showing up with 3 folks, right? They didn't just throw the match and just say no, we're not going to show up on the field, right? They showed up on the field, and that battleship lasted a whole lot longer than I thought it was going to.
Yeah, very much so. And as I said, it was Adam, for a little while at the beginning, I was thinking this could go their way. It's like so they did turn up, and it's still experience no matter what. And from what I can gather, this is only going to be the first of many tournaments that we do in the future. So being able to even gain that experience is going to prove useful further down the line.
Agreed. It's going to be fun to see some of these teams again and some new teams next time. And we got 3 more to go over. I'm not sure of our time, but I'm sure we'll get an update on that. Let's look at Wildly Inappropriate versus Asian Squad, right? Both the teams came on the field at 50 from the center point. It just looked like an interesting fight. Gommel, were you here for that one, or I think you left for this one, right? You were gone at the latter.
Yeah, half. I had to leave at that point. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to see it.
Kiala, did you do this one?
I was actually setting up for the following match as this one happened.
Then I got to go back to Moomin.
Yeah, it seems like I was the only one to have turned up to that one. I mean, there again, it was going to be an interesting match. Wildly Inappropriate, versus like Asian Squad. Now, Asian Squad, arguably, they got unlucky earlier on with their draw against Reavers, that are historically a strong team, and it was a mirror match, so it was very much kind of like a kiting setup. But this time around, Asian Squad would. That kind of Blackbird, I seem to remember over on Wildly Inappropriate's team, has always gained a lot of attention. Even though Ewar isn't particularly strong because it's very, very hit and miss, as soon as people see it on the field, they start gunning for it a lot. And that's helped out Wildly Inappropriate, by having that Blackbird on field there.
Yeah, they also had that Purifier that seemed to hang on for almost ever and just, I mean, it was at 3% structure for 4 or 5 minutes.
Yeah, it is. Like, I think that was one of the ones where you just think, yeah, they're gone, but no. Then they basically got away from that damage, and they were able to be like repped up again. Yeah, so some really good piloting on that side of things, and dare I say, a little bit of luck as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. The next match was the Butts Incorporated versus the Reavers. And again, strong Reavers team, right? And I think that was the first time we saw Pontiflex on the field.
It was indeed, and also we've been talking to Asher about that one a little bit earlier on, where he was saying, well, you know, the value of battleships in these slightly smaller 7 versus 7 compositions, you know, it doesn't necessarily have the same value because you need to build all of the team around it. And then what does he do? He brings a battleship. So, you know, you need to watch out for that Asher guy in future matches because he's twistier and turnier than a twisty turny thing.
They brought a lot of E-War in that one as well, as I
What?
recall. What did you say, Gobble?
I said, what? Twistier and turnier than a twisty turny thing?
Yeah, completely.
Well, all right then.
It's I believe it's a Blackadder reference, but you know, obviously you being a man child, you wouldn't be old enough to remember it, I don't think.
Wait.
I'm lost too, Gobble. Don't worry about it.
If you haven't watched Blackadder, then seriously, you should go and watch all of Blackadder. 4 seasons, really good stuff. But anyway, continue with this. This is, you know, what we're here for.
Yeah. So in the last match of the day, right, we had Bomber Waff and Space Violence. SV ended up taking that. I was a little surprised, but that was the first time that we saw a rattlesnake on the field as well.
Yeah, Boat was gracious enough to bring a rattlesnake. Interesting matchup. Space Violence showing how strong they were ultimately because, you know, the Bomber team hadn't been doing too bad either.
Yeah, they were very aggressive in that, and they really kind of dove into the fight. You know, they went right after the worm of the Space Violence team, you know, and I thought they were going to have it, and then suddenly the tide turned. What do you, Gummel, did you see that one? Or we going, or Calla?
I was really kind of surprised that that the Bomber Waff team was out so early this one. But I mean, Space Violence also had a good. The Space Violence, rather. I mean, we had a bunch of small gang focused teams, but it was a pretty good match.
Yeah, it was a good match. It lasted a while. Like I said, I thought Bomber Waff was going to go for it, and then suddenly the tide turned, and Space Violence took the whole show there. All right, that's pretty much everything for our recap. What are you guys expecting today? I'll go around the room. I'll start with you, Calla.
I am expecting more surprises from the Reavers team. I think Asher probably has tried more setups than any of the other teams in practice. So that's going to be the interesting one to watch. I think we have some other solid teams. I wonder if we might see a rematch between Reavers and Butts in the finals, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I think we're going to see some interesting stuff from the Reavers team. Moomin, Gamo, you guys got anything?
I too am very interested to see the Reavers play, just because I know that out of all of the team captains that are competing here, Asher is definitely trying the hardest.
Absolutely.
Hello Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's match. Where on the red team, it's one of my favourites. They're so lucky to have me, V4 So they're bringing a Fleet Typhoon, a Balgon, an Eros, Orthrus, Purifier, and Hound. Some good DPS there, and also reps. We'll see how they get in.
I've noticed that both teams have completely eschewed the use of battle cruisers and going instead with a pair of battleships and cruiser and frigate support. Oh wait, I guess there is a destroyer in there somewhere.
I think we should also note there as well, Gommel, that the blue team is Butts Inc. as well. So
Yes,
we've got Furry
that's
Toes
true.
back. We'll see how well he can actually survive today after his heroic kind of fight that he managed to do yesterday in Navy Brutix, was it, I think?
Yes, that was the hull tank Navy Brutix that lasted for effing ever.
I'm not sure it's whole tanked, but definitely the last part of your statement is very true. So the match is underway here, and we've got both teams which are about kind of like 50 away from the beacon, and we've got the V4 battleships actually coming down towards the Butts Inc. team at the moment.
And they're looks like they're trying to back away and maintain the range. They're trying to kite the other team. Noggins for V4 Dur and the Hound, he's going to be the first to go.
No, he called reps. Yeah, he got it back. I mean, that was a close save, though. I mean, you only need to look at how much structure he's got.
It looks like the Navy Scorpion is getting sensor damped and also target painted. It looks like that might be their first target to break their E-War. Oh, also getting neuted. It looks like the Bailgorn's doing his work.
Yeah, and there again, it's like, you know, the attention from Butts Inc. to the V4 bombers is definitely there. They're looking to like remove that relatively fragile but high DPS away from the field. That Navy Scorpion, though, of Jerry, that's looking a little bit low there.
A little bit, but we'll see how it's tanked. We've got a shield doctrine that's going up against an armor doctrine, and maybe we'll get to see once and for all which is superior.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, you know, who knows, there might be a little bit of bait tanking going on there as well, because we've got Yarboy J out in the Scimitar there, so there are reps available on the Butts Inc. team as well.
Yep, and it's great because Noggins in the Hound is actually getting all of those armor reps from drones. And I just love to see the use of logistic drones in small gang fights. I think that they're fantastic.
Oh, well, they are. They're great bang for their buck. Far better than the actual DPS drones. So, you know.
Heads up on the Stork. He's getting webbed and slowed to a crawl. Let's see how long. Oh, never mind. Noggins in the Hound goes down first.
Absolutely. So there goes like a fair chunk of DPS, particularly if they were running a polarized fit, which wouldn't surprise me if some of these guys were. And you're right, it's like, you know, Shimmy is taking quite a bit of damage there. You know, that's looking dangerous. And there he goes.
Yep. It looks like Thunderstruck is going to be taking out Xana's in the Purifier, and looks like they're going to be taking the DPS down first.
I think you mean V4. It's easy to get confused. And that Hawk.
It doesn't help that I see Team A and Team B.
So, yeah, we've got a V4 working very definitely on the Butts Inc. support kind of wing. They're now working on, and in fact, that's that Nemesis gone now of Illyria Dawn. So that only leaves that kind of main kind of fleet composition now remaining for Butts Inc. It's like they're looking to be in trouble. I mean, with V4 15 points at the moment to Butts Inc.'s 3 is like, you know, Butts Inc.'s going to need to do something relatively soon now.
And I don't think they'll be able to do that when V4 Dur manages to still keep small, high DPS ships like their Purifier and their Orthrus on the field.
Yeah,
I'm
very
surprised
true.
they
I mean,
haven't taken out the scimitar, though. They've left him standing.
well, you look at that Bargus though. That Bargus of Furry Toes is definitely in trouble now, though. Because I mean, there's still a huge amount of damage coming out from V4 Dur.
It doesn't look like it's a whole tank Vargas, unfortunately.
A dream
So he
is
won't be able
broken.
to pull the same tricks he did yesterday.
Still hanging in there though. We'll see whether or not it's so close. I mean, there he
There he
goes. He's actually
goes.
gone. Yeah. So with only the Navy Scorpion remaining and the scimitar, I have to say it's starting to look really quite grim now for Buttsink.
Yep, I'm surprised. I am very surprised. I thought Buttsink would be able to dominate this match, but they got chewed apart within the first 5 minutes.
Okay, and so where do you feel it kind of went wrong then a little bit for Buttsink there?
Well, that's a really good question. It looked like V4 Dur was really good in their target calling, prioritizing ships like Illyria Dawn in the Nemesis and Chimera in the Stork. And once those two were off the field, it was pretty much a done deal.
Okay, and just so you know as well, is you got 3 bars there that you're able to actually see for each of the team. Top one being defense. The blue bar is what they actually have passively, and then the purple part of that is to do with their active reps. And your boy Jay just gone down there in the scimitar, so it's just that Navy Scorpion remaining now. You then have the attack bar, and as that fills up, then there is greater damage being applied from that team. And then the last one is to do with control, and that is anything to do with E-War, damps, target painters, webs, all of those sort of like effects. And the larger that bar is, then the more modules that that team has available to them.
I wish it would do the same thing though, and show us what kind of damage, at least what kind of damage is being applied, whether it's missiles or what type of damage they're using, type of ammo. That would be nice, interesting things to show on the battlefield.
Well, it would be nice for the interface, yeah. I mean, you can work it out because obviously certain holes actually just have, kind of almost like default weapon systems that go with them because they're associated to a hull bonus. There's 4 different damage types, and then it gets all kind of like tricky. I mean, there's some very interesting guides out there. And I mean, you can zoom in and you can look at the weapon systems, and depending on what shape they are and what color the lights are, will tell you whether or not it's T1, T2, and water cannons, rails, all the different weapon systems there. As you would expect with Eve, there's a lot of stuff going on, but it looks like Joey now is really on his last legs now.
Boom. That is it.
Absolutely. So V4 Dur have taken the win there. It's like almost a clean sweep, just losing that hound. And